What is going on, everyone? This is JoshSTATiX J here in the flesh. Today I am reviewing Def Jam Fight for New York around this PlayStation 2, and I had so much fond memories of this game growing up back in the day, so today I want to talk about it. Now, I know for the people who's been looking forward for me reviewing Resident Evil 3, they're asking where has it been. A lot of interesting things that happened for me that put me on hiatus, so don't worry about it. It's coming very shortly. Please believe that. Anyways, without wasting any more time, let's get straight to this review. Def Jam Fight for New York is one of the most underrated fighting games from the PlayStation 2 era. It was at a point in time where developers took an insane amount of risk with fresh ideas that were made into fresh new IPs. This game particularly features a selective amount of hip-hop MCs who were relevant around 2004, with a theme that's based around money, power, and respect, where you fight such many opponents to earn such great things. The interesting thing about this game in particular is the gameplay that consists of many forms of fighting such as boxing, wrestling, and much more. But in this year 2017, does this game still hold up as appeal as it was back in 2004? Well, let's find out.
This one's gonna be over soon, man. Nice! Destroy!
D-Bob is getting arrested by the NYPD from the events of Def Jam Vendetta. On their way traveling to the police station, they were soon to be wrecked by a random driver who drove an SUV, who happens to rescue D-Miles and one of the officers getting a good look at the suspect before passing out. And from this point on, you'll be creating and playing the character for the rest of the game as you'll be doing a lot of fighting and taking over the city. And this is where I'm going to stop it right here. If you don't want to be spoiled by the game's plot and you want to move on ahead to the game section of the review, go ahead to skip to this timestamp. Otherwise, if you want to continue listening to the story, stick around. I'm giving everyone a 5-second heads warning, so you've been warned. So, for the sake of this review, I will be calling my created character Marlo, because it sounds so much better than saying the hero or your created character so constantly. So, back at someone else's crib, Blaze and Sticky Fingers were doing nothing but gaming until D-Mob shows up. Surprising and lecturing them for not backing him up from getting arrested, he shares his level of appreciation for Marlo for breaking him free from the cops. So when Blaze asks D-Mob if Marlo's down with the crew or not, he basically makes Marlo a part of their crew. But he isn't a part of their crew until they see how he fights, to which he proves what he's capable of doing after a sparring match with House. Blaze shows a lot of level of appreciation with Sticky Fingers doing nothing but hating. To his success, D-Mob hooks Marlo up with some cash so he can look part of the crew, while preparing him to win some more fights. Blaze arranges him with an apartment to stay in since the cops are already looking for him. So Marlo fights people, earns money, fights more people, gets new clothes, developing new skills, and even gets to fight Omar Epps from Juice. As Marlo bodies many of his opponents, he gains a lot more respect from the people as well as his praise. And you know what? Hell, he even gets to pick one of the 4 girls as his love interest after smashing the dude's head in the record player. Moving back into the fighting scenes, he even goes up against Ice-T, to which he beats him successfully, as well as earning some more cash from D-Mob. They are soon greeted by Crow and his crew of people to see whether or not Marlo is up to fighting crack, basically to gain more control over D-Mob's club, to which he tells him to leave. Being petty the way Crow is, he proposed an offer to all the fighters in his club that he'll be paying a lot more money than D-Mob if they just joined his crew, in which D-Mob does lose some clubs on his fighters. Back into the fighting scene, just to tick off Crow, Karma Electra is eyeing Marlo while his girlfriend is getting jealous, and they both get into a fist fight in which you have the opportunity to pick whoever you want out of the two as your girlfriend. So me being loyal the way I am, I chose my old girl, because when was the last time Karma Electra was like relevant in something? I'll wait. So back at D-Mob's place, he holds a special meeting with Blaze, Ludacris, Nor, Marlo, and Sticky, who happen to arrive late, and he's already building more hostility against Marlo because he's in a special seat. No matter how many clubs they try to win, they're still losing against Crow. Wondering what was the next plan of action, Sticky suggests they kill Crow to end him once and for all, and D-Mob basically shuts him down, saying that is too much heat, and that's going to affect all their money and earnings altogether. He suggests the best course of action would be to take all over Crow's club as well as earning as much respect because that is their code.
A beaten dog may fear you, but the second you turn your back, he's gonna strike.
And with that, they all agreed to fight Crow's people to win back their clubs, as well as having Blaze go up against Crack, to which he loses to him, sadly. Marlo continuing beating many of Crow's opponents in many different clubs. Crow's offered D-Moz a winner-takes-all match between Crack and D-Moz's best fighter, in which he chooses Marlo, obviously, in which Sticky is all mad into his feelings leaving the crew because he wasn't picked. D-Moz reassures Marlo not to worry about his outbursts and just focus on the match. So after humiliating Crack and especially Crow, D-Mob and Blaze celebrate Marlo's victory in his limo, so in return, D-Mob gives Marlo his necklace, basically welcoming him to the family. But the moment didn't even last long until one of Crow's people pulled a drive-by on him with Danny Trejo. He opened fires on him with a Uzi. Both of the vehicles crash into a lamppost with the suspects running away. Marlo chases the three suspects who were Trejo, Magic, and Sticky, who joins Crow's crew while escaping on a train. Trejo's about to end Marlo's life, but he's out of bullets, so they both put their hands up, with Trejo getting that severe beatdown from Marlo. Heading back into the wreckage where Blaze and D-Mob was, they try to help a severely wounded D-Mob out of the car, but he refuses their help and tells them to leave so they don't get caught by the cops. So when they head back into the crib, Marlo already got his mind set on getting revenge on Crow. Blaze tells Marlo to continue fighting on more Crow's fighters and take over more clubs from him as Docs wake up from his coma. No, seriously, he's been asleep for this whole entire time. So far, as a result, they done took down several more clubs from Crow. And with that, there's a team tournament going on in a chop shop where the winner takes a Cadillac Escalade. Magic, who is hitting on Marlo's girlfriend, gets told for him to back off, which results in the match against Marlo, and with whoever you choose as your partner on your team, OE or Ice-T, with Magic's partner being the person you didn't pick. Seems petty, right? Doesn't matter because they both get body anyway. And as they continue to beat more opponents from Crow, Magic on the behalf of Crow himself threatens Marlo to stay out of his clubs or he gonna face that beatdown. Crow even goes out of his way to tell Marlo to join him, for which he can earn more money, in which he tells him
No.
This forces Crow and his crew to kidnap Marlo's girlfriend, basically forcing Marlo to retake back all of Crow's clubs one by one. And after Marlo helps Crow regain most of his clubs back, he got one more to win. And his final fight is with Doc. Blaze tried to talk some sense into Marlo, but Marlo can't even say a word, worrying about his woman. This basically makes Blaze take his chain away from him from being disloyal, turning against his family. Marlo beats Doc in the hopes of getting his girlfriend back from Crow, who tells him that he got one more task to do and then he can get her back, which was to kill the badly beaten Blaze, in which he knocks out WC, turns against Magic and Crack, and with that, Marlo and Blaze defeat Magic and Crack in the team brawl. Marlo gains the information that Crow didn't even plan on keeping his girlfriend alive in the first place, so Magic reveals that she was being kept hostage in an abandoned factory, with Sticky in the process of setting the building on fire with her in it. Marlo confronts Sticky, in which he lights a ring of fire for a fight to the death with Marlo, and he basically wins and saves his girlfriend. Marlo's girlfriend remains unconscious, thus angering him to kill Crow even more. So Marlo and Blaze finally confronts Crow and his gang at a spot where they're being backed up by D-Moz's crew. Crow aggressively demands his own crew to take care of D-Moz's crew, but Crack and WC especially were done taking orders inside with Marlo and Blaze. At this point, a gang fight's about to break out, so as Marlo confronts Crow to end it all, he gets ambushed by Magic with his gun, who also refuses to take any more orders from Crow, and he hands the gun to Marlo instead. Crow, in a way, begging for his life, keeps telling Marlo to keep joining his crew, even though he won fair and square, in which Marlo argues he broke the code. Crow, with this low bottom street mentality, goes against the code, in which Marlo shoots around him, saying he isn't worth killing over since he already lost everything to begin with. And with Marlo turning his back and leaving like that, this angers Crow, in which he stabs him in the back with his cane.
A beaten dog may fear you, but the second you turn your back, he's gonna strike.
And they get into a fight to the death, in which Marlo throws Crow through the window. And that's pretty much the end of the story, where you create a characters reflecting on what he did. The end in the story. As for the story itself, I really enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't as groundbreaking, but it was watchable at the best. One thing particular that really caught my eye for sure is the voice of D-Mob. I like his voice, it's very unique. And that's because the guy who played D-Mob is actually a known character from the Stargate series. Plus, he's going to be the new voice of Kratos in the new God of War reboot. And Christopher Judge is his name, or in this game he goes by Chris Judge. For the character D-Mob, I think his voice work is pretty solid given the fact that he isn't based off a celebrity, so it gives his own sense of personality.
Oh, he goes up big! I just busted you in two!
This game has a big roster of characters to choose from, such as Method Man, Busta Rhymes, Snoop Dogg, Ice-T, Flavor Flav, and many others to choose from. If you're not too familiar with hip-hop, you don't have to worry because every character got his unique fighting style for your vest out there, and this game is very casual friendly as well. For me, I get my enjoyment from creating my own character and improve upon that as well with more fighting styles in the mix. Speaking of fighting styles in the mix to choose from, at the start of the story mode there are about 5 to pick from, such as kickboxing, street fighting, martial arts, wrestling, and submission. Through overtime you gain currency such as death points and you can spend them to learn more fighting styles that affect the way you fight. The max you can learn up to is about 3 for a fair balance. For me, I like to pick street fighting, kickboxing, and martial arts because it suits my style and it flows pretty good. Not only you can learn more fighting styles, you can learn more special moves called blazing.
Injury to Enzo!
And there are also a factor for serious damage, because at the start of the match everyone starts with green health, but as soon as you get hit enough to go for red, you are in great danger of getting knocked out by various ways of serious damage. But let's talk about the fighting itself. This game isn't as heavily wrestling based like the last game, which is great for more flexibility for a wider range of fighting styles as I mentioned. The fights are brutal, the fights are savage just looking at it, and what I deeply love about this game is that it doesn't hold back to the level of violence, thanks to the shift for a more mature tone. What I like to point out for sure is the fighting era, because it can be used to your advantage. Each stage is different from the rest and how you can adjust. For every advantage, there is always a disadvantage. For example, if you're surrounded by a bunch of people, it's best to stay away from them so you don't get grabbed or pushed around for your opponent to get a free hit. But on the flip side, if you knock your opponent against the crowd, they can also assist you in smacking your opponent with a weapon, or they can hold them for you to do that serious work and damage. However, there's one thing I do want to nitpick about, it's the blocking and countering. Whenever my opponent's about to hit, it always seems to be a confusion if I'm supposed to attack or block right as my opponent's about to grab me for a counter. This game doesn't really explain much on the basis of how to counter, it doesn't really explain much on tutorials, it only does so briefly. And it's really sad because Def Jam Vendetta, at least they showed a tutorials video if you really want to know how the basic and such. I mean, all I'm saying is it could have been done better. Even though the story is decent, the fighting's where it's really at. Here you can build up charisma such as buying clothes, looking good, getting tasks, buying jewelry, and so on. And man, let me tell you, the more expensive your jewelry is, the more you appear to be shining.
I see you shining, nigga. I can smell a motherfucker with money.
And man, you be spending a lot of time fighting in various locations, doing occasional free-for-all matches, as well as doing team battles. It's fun to fight opponents, but after a while it does get a little repetitive, when really all you want to do is see how the story unfolds in the end. After each fight you do get a voice message from the people such as congratulations or hating in general, but if you're bored or got nothing else better to do, you can also view trophies. Honestly, don't care about them because it doesn't really benefit me much to sell bragging rights. I mean, who really cares for trophies, right? For a 6th generation game, this game in particular still does look good to this day compared to the original, but one thing I do want to laugh about is the selection of voices.
Come on, man, let's bounce.
Sound like he does some drugs.
Come on, man, let's bounce.
Come on, man. Come on, son. I don't even like none of them voices, bro.
Come on, man, let's bounce.
I'm going street. Now let's get through the things I really didn't like. I didn't like the fact that if you beat the game, there isn't a new game plus or anything to reattempt the trophies or certain actions you want to reattempt for a person who's a completionist. Because after you beat the game, all there is left to do is just filler missions, and that's pretty much it. Because the only option you got left is starting over, and that is the easiest thing you can do to replay the game all over again. But after you beating the game about 2 more times, you pretty much got nothing else to do. Unless you got friends or homies or something, you can do a 4-player brawl. But if you ain't got no homies or anything, I don't know what else to tell you because the game gets played out after a while. I know it's asking for so much, but it would have been cool to have extra content to go off of. Now this may sound silly what I'm about to say, but the soundtrack in this game wasn't really all that great compared to Vendetta. It has a lot of forgettable tracks except a few popular ones from the rappers such as Method Man and the other rappers I mentioned, but The rest are just meh. I'm really disappointed there wasn't no track from Snoop Dogg or Ludacris. They were pretty impactful from the hip hop genre too. I guess there really wasn't New York influence, I don't know. And sadly, since this is a mature rated game, how you gonna have a mature rated game as well as strong language and such, but the music be censored? That makes no sense to me. This isn't Madden. But despite all of that, gameplay wise, the gameplay is solid.
For the weak now. Nice.
Damn, I'm good.
Does this game hold up as well as it did in 2004? My answer to that is yes, absolutely. The game is fun as hell to play, it is easy to pick up and learn. With all this dramatic over the top fighting with hip hop rappers, it's a game for casuals to play. It's not just a game that's only for hip hop fans, it's welcome to anyone. So back to what I said at the beginning about developers taking risks to bring out something fresh and new IPs, this is really all about. It's all about fun at the end of the day. Question is, will we ever see another Def Jam fighting game that isn't Def Jam Icon, because that game is trash. Imagine if they made a new one with Eminem, Jay-Z, and Nas as legend in the game that featured a storyline as them being bosses of their own city, and then you can have the little man like Kendrick Lamar have his own dojo since he's Kung Fu Kenny, have J. Cole, Big Sean, Tyler the Creator, and so much more of these lyrical MCs be a part of this game. But anyways, that's my review for Def Jam Fight for New York. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Consider hitting that like button, subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a video, and please, after you're done subscribing to the channel, hit the notification bell so you won't miss any videos. Until then, next time guys, I'll see you in another video. Peace.